It is now my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Susan Kabot, Chair of the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council. Sue serves as a parent representative on our council. She lives in Broward County and has a 40-year-old son, Michael, with autism, intellectual disability, and mental health needs. Sue has spent over 35 years developing and administering programs for children and young adults with autism, ranging from early intervention to a college support program. Besides serving on the council, she is a member of the panel of professional advisors for the Autism Society of America and nationally recognized in her field. It is my great privilege to present Dr. Sue Kabot.
Good morning. I want to add my welcome to Developmental Disabilities Awareness Day 2021. Our world has changed so much due to COVID-19 that it's hard to believe we were in Tallahassee, gathered in a very windy Capitol courtyard 1 year ago. We were running through the halls of the Capitol to make our voices heard. This year, the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council has tried to duplicate the same experience to encourage all of our advocacy involvement to support those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Usually, I get to talk about Mike, my adult son with autism, who lives in a community-based intermediate care facility. But this year, I'm excited to share our COVID experience through a year's worth of pictures. February 2020, Mike turned 40 and we had him home to celebrate his birthday. We weren't aware of the changes that would soon be impacting all of our lives. It would be the last time we would see him in person until September. We thought that the crisis would soon be over and treated COVID as a short-term issue. There were no protocols, and everyone was learning as they went. By April, you can see how shaggy Mike looks. I think his staff were waiting to take him for a haircut, but soon they took the situation into their own hands, purchasing haircutting kits for each individual. We had to be satisfied with phone calls and FaceTime calls. We were offered visits with the fence separating us, but we knew that would make things worse for Mike. Our first face-to-face visit occurred in September. I brought Mike a Slurpee because that's the way all our visits to the family home start, with a stop at 7-Eleven. We had to socially distance, sitting across from each other outside in a pavilion. The direct care staff tried valiantly to teach Mike to wear a mask, but his sensory issues prevented them from being successful. If you look carefully, you can see the mask hanging from his ear. And here we are with our Slurpee. Mike's day program was closed, but the staff developed a schedule of activities to fill the time. They planned special events for special occasions, like Halloween and Thanksgiving. Here's Mike dressed as Elvis for the drive-by trick-or-treating and costume party. For Thanksgiving, the staff decorated and provided a festive environment with pie and drinks for family visit. They knew how important Thanksgiving is to our family, usually having 40 people at home, but we were satisfied with pumpkin pie and Coke. During November, I realized that it was the pizza or cheeseburgers I brought for Mike to eat after our visit that made him happy to see me. There were days when he sent me home immediately because he knew he would get his treat when I was gone. On this day, our visit was canceled due to rain, but I had already ordered the pizza, so I dropped it off without him seeing me. Look how happy he looks. Then late in November, our family realized how very important Mike's staff and the direct support professionals who know him best are. It was bedtime, and his direct support professional noticed that he was not himself. She got the nurse, and it was decided that they should call the EMTs. Mike ended up in the hospital for 4 days in the middle of COVID. 3 shifts of staff from his home stayed with him to keep him comfortable, translate Mikeyisms to the medical staff, and entice him to cooperate with all of the procedures that needed to be done. It also was an experience that reminded me of how much work still needs to be done. Mike has a variety of co-occurring issues added to the autism, including intellectual disability and bipolar disorder. Hospital staff did not understand autism and intellectual disability. That needed to be explained by his staff. They were there to let the hospital know what was typical Mike behavior and what was not. The December holidays presented more challenges. Trying to provide activities and celebrations in socially distanced ways was difficult, but the staff worked hard to provide a variety of activities. It was a Hanukkah party for one, as Mike and I lit the menorah, opened a present, a Chuck E. Cheese gift box, of course, and ate a Hanukkah cookie and chocolate coins. The group had a thank you drive-by for the day program staff who had stepped in to ensure the coverage needed as their programs were closed. Mike got to hold the sign. See how proud he looks? Finally, a year later, February 2021, we are both fully vaccinated and can have visits without socially distancing. And we can even share the pizza. We're planning Mike's first visit home with a stop at Chuck E. Cheese's. Whether you're a self-advocate, a family member, or someone who supports individuals with developmental disabilities, I know that you have all faced your own difficult times and are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. As chair of the Florida Developmental Disabilities Council, please join me in recognizing the critical work that our direct support professionals do every day. The additional challenges of COVID-19 were an opportunity to showcase the important role of this workforce in the life of those with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They stepped up to provide Mike with the experiences that are important to our family when we could not. And I'm sure the same is for many of you. They deserve to be appropriately compensated.
Thank you, Sue.